Hello.
Hello and hello,
Hello.
everyone. I'm so excited about today's segment. We are going to talk about spiritual flow, and my special guest is Aley from Heart and Soul Connected. Hello, Aley.
Hello, Andrea. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yes. Would you like to tell everyone about this topic for today?
I would like to do that. I'm going to start with a little story about how I became interested in this idea and also how it can be applied to other ideas. But first thing I want to say is that I'm here to learn from you as much as you're here to listen to anything that I might have to say. So I'm not an expert on the topic. I just enjoy it, and I'm a very curious person. So when I became interested in learning about the topic, I first read a book called Finding Flow, and then later Just Flow, by a professor named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. And you can just put the word flow in, and usually he comes up, so you don't have to worry, because his name is a mouthful, that's for sure. And I read over his information, and I felt very comfortable with the way he explained it, which sometimes you can get a book, especially from a professor, and it's a little bit too up here for a higher level. But this was really accessible and really, really well written. Later, I found that he had written a book called Creativity. It's much thicker. It takes some of the premises that he uses in flow, and he talks about creativity. And you know, I think all of us can pretty much say that spirituality takes a great deal of creativity. And so it's all together. It's all sort of interconnected, just like we all are interconnected. One of the first components or characteristics of flow is a complete concentration on what you're doing. The problem with that is that you must kind of do that while at the same time remaining non-attached. Now, that's not always easy. Because we want to push things along. You know, all right, I've been sitting here for an hour, I'm waiting, when is it going to happen? You know.
And we want to try to control everything, right?
Yeah. And the only truth is we can't control things. You know, I teach at the college level, and one of the first questions I ask my students is, which would you rather have, freedom or security? And many of them think about it for a long, long time, and they say, oh, definitely security. And I said, have you ever thought of the idea that both of these do not exist, really? There is no true freedom. You have a cell phone, don't you? Don't you have a bill that's attached to the cell phone? You know, you can't just drive your car through stop signs, can you? You know, that kind of thing. The other thing is security. What would mean security to you? Well, your security might be, you know, having a home, having a car, having a family, whatever. Can that all be taken away from you? Oh, yeah. You could have a fire. You could have you know, we don't want to focus on those things and not make them happen. But at the same time, we have to realize there really is no true security. And people will disagree. So I welcome that. That's fine. But, you know, that's just the way it is. That's one of the biggest obstacles that we're all dealing with, don't you think, in this divisive society that we're currently living in, is that, you know, I'm right, you're wrong. And, you know, we're not able to come to any kind of a
harmony.
conclusion. Yeah, we can't even meet in the middle anywhere. Yeah.
So Lori Sue just said, creativity is the essence of life force. We are created beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. We are created. We come from creation. You know, there's a good reason why all those words sort of tie together. And, you know, anything that we believe is creative. I mean, you can make a beautiful pie and have the crust be fine. Or you could make a pie that looks terrible, but it tastes delicious. So, you know, it doesn't have to be an oil painting or a sculpture or a book, whatever. I want to get back to some of these other characteristics, but first thing I want to say is that we tend not to allow ourselves to let flow come through, or we find excuses to put up barriers to what it is that we want because of fear and other things. And we all know that old fear, an acronym, false information, no, false evidence appearing real. Okay. Whatever it is, it's nothing new. We've heard it before. But I myself have had the same issues, and some days still do.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do something like this for ages, ages. Yeah.
And you didn't because you were what? Fear-based? Got in your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Either that, or I have to have a full-time job and this won't make money. So I need, this is, my father would say, this is your avocation, not your profession, and things like that. But it's so important. When you get away from it, blockages come and you have all kinds of problems. For me, it was, I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. And that was what put me into actually the humanities as a professor, because I just love all those interconnections, but it doesn't make you an expert, let's say, on anything. And, I don't want to come across as an expert on anything, because I'm simply not. I'm just what Socrates said. I just know I don't know anything, So.
And we always are continually learning.
We are.
Right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
You don't have to be an expert, because we're all still learning.
I was telling Andrea early in a conversation we were having that I was told when I was much, much younger that I would work from home with people coming to me. And I thought, really? I don't want a bunch of people coming in my house, And of course, this is exactly what it is. And I also teach college classes now online as well. So I have a lot of people coming to me at my home, but I'm able to sit here and I just love it. So, that flow, that allowing of that flow has changed my life. And I think it's changed the lives of many other people like yourself. Is that not true, Andrea? I mean, what finally compelled you? What is your story of how you allowed yourself to flow and open your own channel?
If you would have told me 8 months ago or something that I was going to have a YouTube channel, I'd say, you're crazy. What are you even talking about?
Yeah.
And it was the circumstances of 2020 that brought me here. And that's why I always say, look at everything as an opportunity.
It is.
Don't get caught up in bad news or whatever. So unfortunately, the virus hit, and I had a full-time job in a regular kind of industry.
Right.
And we all got moved home in March, right? To work from home.
Right. Me too.
Then I got reduced to part-time in the same company, working from home. And I had a lot of time on my hands. And I stumbled across this community online because I was watching, right? And I was like, my whole mind expanded because I didn't realize that this community was online. I mean, I probably should have, but I didn't know.
Right.
And I was watching the other readers and I'm like, yes. I love this. I can do this. I've been psychic and had tarot cards. I used to read palms and, all kinds of stuff, dreams and all that sort of stuff. So
cool.
I'm not going to have a channel. I'm not going to. I knew I could do it, but I thought, no, nobody wants to watch me. And I don't want to be on. I don't look perfect, so I don't want to be on screen. All those blocks.
Yeah, right? The things that block us. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna try.
Good.
And I just thought, don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
I came up with a name, and I always told myself, I can change it later. Right? I can change the name. I can change how I do things, but I just need to start, because if I don't start,
that's it. You must. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So I did it very humble. If those who have watched from the beginning know that you only saw my hands and the table. I didn't have my face on screen, right? And I was excited. And I remember my first subscriber, it took about a week of videos.
Okay.
And someone subscribed. Okay. I got goosebumps, right? And I felt so wonderful that someone subscribed to the channel, right? And then eventually it just grew. And, Scott had me on his channel, which was the first time I showed my face. and then now I do,
Okay.
and now I
felt more comfortable. Right.
yeah,
Right.
and now I have guests like your lovely self come on and it's growing and growing. But what I didn't do is I didn't control the outcome.
Right.
And I
Well,
still
you can't. Yeah.
I still don't know where this channel is going to lead to and what,
Right.
but it's being open and just
Right.
trying. For gosh sakes, everyone, just try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's what opens up when you do.
It really does. I used to watch a lot of music on YouTube, and my very best friend told me a lot about how she would go down, Alice's hole, Alice in Wonderland's hole when she went on YouTube and she found this and she found that. And so one day I just had some time and I went on and I found lots and lots of very, very great things. I mean, and I've even told my students, if you have a problem writing a paper, you can YouTube it and look, and someone will tell you how to do it. There's all kind. You can put something together or build something, and you've got YouTube. So I like the fact that this community is being built, basically, with and everyone complements the other.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. I was seeking something as well because it was during the election fiasco, life fiasco, and COVID too. COVID is a blessing in disguise.
It's very sad, but that's what I mean. If you look like, and then I lost my job. I should clarify that too. Then I lost my job. And I didn't freak out. I just thought I'm going with the flow.
Good for you.
And I had the channel to focus on, and I have always, no matter if all the chips are down or everything's a mess, I trust the universe.
Yep. That's about all you can do, honestly. We were in a very bad place, and we found a job and we found a place to live. And it was all by just asking a question and getting an answer, and then leaving the rest of it up to the universe. We had no food. We had nothing. But now we had this house, we had this place to live. And Keith, my husband, who some of you probably have met on the other generational theory, he went out and he started raking the yard where we left, and he found two $50 bills in the leaves.
Yeah.
And we went to the grocery store. So, I see this, but it was allowing it. It wasn't going, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to rake the leaves. There's not, I got to do my job. And that's what he found out.
And it's a positive attitude, because I have gotten very depressed and withdrawn and just stayed in bed and didn't do a channel and didn't, do anything.
Yeah.
But if you realize you're on a journey, and
it's up to you.
It's up to you. And everything is an opportunity, even if it's unpleasant, because one door closes, another door opens.
Absolutely. I think it's very, very difficult. And I want to bring this into it. I realize I haven't told you all the flow things yet, and I will.
Yeah.
But before I do, with the obstacles to flow also comes the obstacle of our needs being met. When I said that COVID was a blessing, it certainly, I bless all those people who have died and all their families. I don't say that that's a blessing for them. No. What I'm saying is, for those of us who took the time to say to ourselves, okay, I got some time. What am I going to do that I've always wanted to do, that I was going to do when I retired or when I had more time or whatever? And, like I listened to 25 audiobooks while I was out walking. I just did all this stuff, and I felt so good for the longest time. But if you don't have your basic physiological needs met, as Abraham Maslow, a great psychologist, says, you can't do anything. It's impossible. If you do not have food or water, or you don't have shelter, warmth, and a place to live or a place to be, you can't say, okay, I think I'm just going to be real spiritual and think positive and make things happen, because you're in that place where
you're in survival mode. Yeah,
absolutely. You're in survivor mode. Even when you finally do feel like you have a little bit of security, you're still not out of that yet. It's only when you get a sense of love, a sense of belonging, or finding friends and connections and family. That might be church, it might be a club, it might be a place you work that you can get, it's just different for everyone. It might be a group of animals, I don't know. But if you get to that point, you can make that choice much easier than you could before, because you've at least got your food, you've got your drink, you've got some money coming in, hopefully.
Yeah.
And, it's very difficult to do it otherwise. And I've lived it, and I know that. I remember saying to Keith, I just don't feel spiritual. And he said, you can't right now. It's almost impossible for us. But you're shooting yourself in the foot at the same time. So what are you going to do? When we finally do have esteem, which is the next one up, we feel self-accomplished. We feel like, oh, okay, now I might be able to do something else because I've accomplished this. And then, of course, his top tier is self-actualization, which is where you feel like you have the connection and you can make that kind of a journey or make those choices. So I think it has a lot to do with it, but don't let those other perceived obstacles stand in your way. That's the hardest thing. And I'm so happy to hear you did not do that. Although there are times taking a nap or taking a rest or staying in bed all day are okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking about, that's regenerating yourself, but
absolutely. Self-care.
Flow of life and your flow of your journey. Sometimes you do get in the way.
You do.
Right?
You do. I was standing in my own way. Yeah, I was really standing in my own way. And when you get away from it, because I started learning about astrology and tarot and all that when I was in high school. Then I went into karate and I learned all that. And then I went into, I have a nearly a brown belt in karate.
Wow.
But I haven't practiced for a long time, but it was wonderful. Then I got into Buddhism. Then I took classes in Hinduism, and then I had a woman teach me about stones and rocks and gemstones. And then I went back and got my first master's. And then I later went back and got my second master's. And I tried to integrate all of this stuff in everything because I want to teach spirituality. But you can't really do that under the guise of anything more than maybe a humanities type of a class.
Right.
So it's fun.
So with our viewers, some of them have been mentioning in the stream that they've been held back or want to do something, or is there a tip that you've learned or read about where you can take that first step? Is there into the flow?
Yeah, there's a couple of definite things that paved the way for myself and my husband when we were really going through a tough time and we wanted to get back. The first thing we had some money problems. And we did a ceremonial burning of all our credit cards outside, and we released all of that.
Yes.
Of course, it didn't make the bills go away, but there was that. We're not going to stay connected to that. We tend to try to find rituals to do, and rituals are nothing really more than they don't have to be in any way right, or they're just right for you. So many times, like full moon, one of the solstice manifestations that he and I had, we were living in Massachusetts. We didn't want to live there anymore. We wanted to move out west because we like it here out west, and we're in Washington State. And we just did this sort of manifestation, and we asked for signs, and we got the signs, and we knew exactly where we were supposed to go and what we were supposed to do. And we just opened ourselves up to that.
I agree. You've got to open yourself up and use your intuition and see the signs, right?
Right.
There's a lot of signs out there if you look. And what helps to know is your intention or your question or your need.
Yep.
Because once you know what you're actually asking about, you'll start seeing the signs.
Very true. It's like when you're pregnant, you see pregnant women, and when you have a Volkswagen that's green, you see a bunch of people with green Volkswagens. It's just the way it is. When I'm asking kids to pick research topics, I say to them, see if you can pick something and then just wait. And then you'll start seeing the articles.
Yeah.
It happens every time.
Yep.
It's very interesting.
Absolutely.
And that's a type of flow. Flow is also instrumental in all the way coaches teach their athletes how to break things down. So some of the other things, which is perfect segue here, is the clarity of your goal and the reward in mind versus immediate feedback sometimes. one of the hardest things I had was we were sitting down to write our intentions, which I just found. They were intentions from 2007. I just found them in a book or something, and every single one of them has manifested.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a nice house in the woods where our RV is, where our dogs can run. We have all these things we had wanted, but it took a long time. And yet at the same time, if you don't know what you want, you won't be able to get it. But I went through the period of time where I didn't know what I wanted either. You know, like, oh, I don't know. Do I want a house here? Do I want to go there? You know, maybe that's and it isn't even money. It's not even like law of attraction money. It's just, you know, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Michelle. She gave a little donation to us. Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Yeah.
So that's the positive intention and putting it forward. There's a great story. Jim Carrey wrote $1 million check to himself, I believe, when he was first starting out. And, you know, his father unfortunately passed away, and he put it with his father, you know, in the casket, whatever. And then, like, I think it was within a year, he signed, like, you know, a $2 million deal to do a movie or something. So it's that kind of, if you don't have any idea, then you're probably not going to get too much or see too much.
Possible. Yeah.
Right.
Because you're not even headed toward that goal. Yeah. Money is the hardest.
Money shouldn't be the thing, but I'm using that as a big example.
No, I know that. Yeah. We had a conversation, actually, Andrea and I, and we have the same idea about what needs to be shared and how it needs to be shared. Shouldn't have a price tag on it, really. If you choose to give something that comes from your heart and what you want to give, I want to help everybody that I can, even people that may not have that money to give right now or whatever. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is to share. The purpose is to share the love. And Andrea feels the same way.
Thank you, Ardessa. She gave us the lovely donation as you were saying that.
Oh my goodness. Right.
So I agree. So the conversation that Aley and I had was, and I really feel this, is that I want to help this community move forward. This, not just the tarot community or whatever, but this whole spiritual movement. It doesn't matter what religion you have or don't have. It's about this movement that, you know, to make the earth a better place for the animals and for the people.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. So getting back, have you all had a different experience in time? Because flow puts in a transformation of time. You move from chronos, which is logical time that on a clock and everything, to kairos moments. So time may slow down, or it may speed up very fast. I think it's been a slow year for me, but it's been very fast. I don't know if that makes any sense. I feel like we just had Christmas. You know, I put Christmas stuff up.
I feel November went really fast. Like, I can't believe it's December 1st next week.
I know. Yeah. Even my students have said that their term, of course, we're working online. They're saying this was a really fast term, and it's 10 weeks, you know. So, but when you're in your flow, you don't even care about the time. You're just like, oh, time, okay. I've had sessions talking, let's say, when my brother was alive, who was very spiritual, and went to Echelon Institute and did a lot of stuff in California. And he and I would talk and talk and talk, and we'd look at the clock and we'd say, oh, it's only 10 or whatever. And we'd say, oh, okay. And then we'd go, blah, 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 and it would be 3 a.m. So, you know, we both have no problem talking anyway, but it just, you know, it was endless. It was timeless. It was very nice. Yeah.
I have always, my parents and my brother go nuts with me and my friends because I really don't have a sense of time, and I never have. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what month it is, and I don't know what year it is. And now, of course, I do, but I don't. In the same, like time is what is it? Linear or
linear?
Yeah. It's always the same time to me, if that makes sense.
That's fabulous. You know why? Because all we have is the moment. And so time is the moment. And so you're not concerned with anything else.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be.
And I'm just flow with it. Like, I don't worry about, oh, this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know I have to make certain obligations at certain times, but basically, yeah, I've felt that way myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So the fourth thing is that flow is intrinsically rewarding. I believe that.
Oh, yes.
You know, with athletes, even if they don't necessarily win a race, if they were runners, perhaps just breaking their own time before, or feeling the connectivity of the other runners, or the heat of the experience, or whatever it is. And sometimes you'll see people that are having a really tough time and they're not in the flow at all because they've tried to make things work. I see that at the highest levels. Things don't work just because you want them to work.
Right.
You know, it's nice to think that you know, you can just make it so, but it isn't always possible to do that. So it usually is effortless and it's very easy. So for me, this is effortless and very easy. I don't feel nervous or uncomfortable. I feel very comfortable. I know that I don't know everything. So, and I just keep putting that out there. But, you know, I have been around a while. This year, I have one of those shirts that says, I turned 65 during the pandemic, or something like that. Because, you know, those big days, you know, you want to have these big parties. Like my stepson just turned 40 yesterday. Big whoop-de-doo, you know, he can't do anything. So it's very interesting.
Maybe we could have a worldwide party for
everybody's birthday and anniversary.
All of this is over. We'll have a big worldwide party.
Yeah, we actually used to do that. We used to do a virtual party when there was a spiritual community that Keith and I belonged to in just before we moved out here, called Zods by Brian Johnson. And he's actually a writer. He's a pretty cool guy. And I just met the neatest people in this community. And we used to have like these birthday parties and things like that virtually. And people would put on music and we'd, you know, our avatars would dance. That would be fun.
I just wrote it down. I think I'm going to start some worldwide parties.
Maybe a virtual New Year's Eve at least, right? Because it will be for hours. Yeah, we can have people come in and talk about their year. That would be awesome. I'd love to hear that. There is a balance usually in flow between a challenge and a skill. If you're trying to do something that's really, really easy to do, you're not really, you know. Yeah. Although I will tell you, and I don't know if this has been your experience before, but if you ever been driving home from somewhere and you're all of a sudden you're home and you don't really remember driving.
Yeah.
I know that sounds very scary.
No, but you've just been.
You were on automatic,
you
know, so you were in that flow. Yeah. Actions and awareness are merged, losing self-conscious rumination. A lot of people have a hard time shutting off that little voice in the head. It's very hard for me to do. And I'll be honest, I had a experience where I wanted to start seeing more. I don't know if it was messages or notices or something from the beyond. And then I saw something out of the corner of my eye and it spooked me so much that I shut everything back down again. And I don't know why, because I have a lot of people on the other side that I'd be very happy to see again, you know. But it's just very strange. Yeah.
Wow. I just want to thank GB for a lovely donation. Thank you, GB.
Oh, thank you. The last one is that there is a feeling of control over the task. So if you were doing this, if you were getting in the flow and you were doing something and you felt in control of what you were doing, such as setting this up, you had to feel in control of what you were doing in order to set it up and get us together and get everybody on and everything.
Yeah.
So you put yourself right in the flow. You put yourself in the flow and you made it happen. So there is a comfort level, and they say that it takes us, I don't remember, I think it's 10 times before we own something. We have to do it at least 10 times, I think it is. Maybe less than that, I don't know. But once we get to that point, we've reached that tipping point where we feel more comfortable. Now, I know a lot of people don't feel really comfortable about public speaking and things like that. And no matter what we do as professors and teachers, we can't get people to be that interested. But if you are, then it only takes you about 10 times, practicing or whatever in order to feel that.
I was terrified to do my first live show. I never did it. And I just hit the live button.
Uh-huh.
One day.
Oh,
Hi, everybody. Because you just have to, that's what I mean, you got to try. And if it fails, or like the other day I did a video, my computer fell right on top of me. I mean, whatever. Right? It's funny. It's part of life.
I wanted to tell you something. It was telling you something. That reminds me of my high school play that a good friend of mine was the lead in, and he was the main character. He had a ton of lines. He was really good and never screwed up on his lines. And one of the days he got on stage and he was talking and he couldn't remember his lines, and he just looked at his wife on the stage, the other actress, and he said, "I gotta go to the bathroom," and he ran out. Which was very nice for him, but not nice for her standing there. And she just went in character, "Herbert, come back." But, I don't know. I guess Rick wasn't in the flow, but he put himself in the flow that way. He really
That's
did.
the thing. And if you go with the flow, which she did, she responded, right?
Oh, yeah.
She didn't go, "What? You were in the middle of a play. What are you doing?" Right?
Right.
Went,
Right.
"I'm going to go with this."
Yep. Yep. It's always nice when somebody gets it or gets what's going on. Much like my family and I, we're always saying lines from movies all the time. And people will look at us like, "What are you saying?" we know.
We know.
Yeah. But a couple of times you'll hear people go, that's from this movie. So it's great. Let's see. So
let's just recap.
Okay.
That whole thing. So flow works spiritually, which is what we're talking about. It also works, as you said, in sports and other
music, anything really creative. Yep.
Yeah. So what's sort of a synopsis of those?
I think one of the things I want to say is that we don't know specifically what it is that we want to do because we don't know enough about all the things there are. And in order for you to get into sort of that flow, I would suggest, watching some tarot channels, watching some astrology, watching some ritual, how people might do ritual, or even watch some. Do you know that Harvard, I think it is, and Cambridge, they have all kinds of free classes you can watch that have been, you're not getting credit for them, but they might have topics that you're interested in. So be aware that something may be calling to you. I've heard stories of people saying they were in a bookstore and the book fell on their head like your computer did. And they needed that book, I haven't had that. I think that's very, very good. But I've had some other things that are very interesting happen to me. And I was able to flow with it because I knew that it was based on things that I believe in that other people may not know about or believe in. And I really do believe, for instance, in reincarnation. I believe that, there are people that, can have had near-death experiences and things like that. And the night my brother died, he was in Arizona, I was in Massachusetts, and we knew he was going to go. And my husband said, "I think I'm going to set the coffee and make some coffee like your brother liked, and we'll have some in the morning," sort of as a ritual thing. But it didn't have an automatic timer on it or anything. It just was there, and he had the lid up, and he had And I got a phone call at 12 o'clock that my brother had passed, and the coffee pot went on all by itself. Brewed coffee. Yeah, it was. Wow. And I had a similar situation with an alarm clock. I became very fascinated with Freddie Mercury, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. And I've tried to contact and learn everything I can about him. And something happened, and I wasn't paying attention to other things. And I had this alarm clock, and it was a battery alarm clock, a cheap thing. And I set it for 6 o'clock, and it went off at 3, which is the hour. I don't know if you're aware, but it's the thinnest part of the veil. And I'm like, why did this go off? This is crazy. And I looked, and it was set for 6 o'clock. So it happened again the next night, and it happened again. And by that time I was bullshit. So I took out the batteries and threw away the batteries. And the next night, the alarm clock went off at 3 o'clock without any batteries in it.
Whoa.
So now I'm spooked. So I put the alarm clock in the trash. But later on, a guy that was talking to me I was in a metaphysical shop, and he looked at me and he said, "Your brother's been trying to get a hold of you. He says you keep ignoring the alarm clock."
Whoa.
So, I'm open to that. I'm not afraid of it, but sometimes it's annoying. It's like, yeah, okay. But those are the nudges. Those are the things that get you back on track, back into your flow.
Yes.
And so, yes, I think that's important. And so you have to completely know where you want to go, what you're interested in. That's the complete concentration on the task. So if you want to, for instance, meditate, that's a hard thing to do. You have to kind of either think of a word, or you have to focus on some dot or something and empty your mind. But you need to concentrate.
Yes.
And then
easy, but you can do
you
it.
have to know what you want. What do you want to happen? So all of that is important.
Dessa asked Harvard and who. You had mentioned some videos are available to watch online.
Yeah, I think if you might be able to Google it, and it will say something like free Ivy League college courses, but they're on tape, and they may even be on YouTube. I don't know.
Like a lecture, that kind of thing?
I think so. I think you're watching a class. Yeah, I think you're watching a class that was or something. But there are. Then they have the other one, the great courses that is out there, and that's in other traditions. That's learning more about, for instance, the Greeks and the Romans and all that. But all of them had spirituality as well. So And
I just want to touch slightly on the veil. I might do a show on it. I don't know. You just reminded me. So. Yep. If you notice, most of you will notice you wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. at night.
Every day.
It used to be really bad for me when I lived in a busier area. I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not. Maybe not. At that time, or my radar was like, now I can sleep through the night. But if I do wake up in the night, it's that 3, 4 o'clock time. So can you talk a little bit about that? What happens at that time?
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that happen to me. Sometimes I'll wake up because I know in my heart that I have grading to do, and it's quiet and it's whatever. But it's a perfect time. Sometimes a dream will wake you up and you'll have this idea and it will be fabulous. And if you don't write that idea down, then it's gone. That's so right. I think that veil is thinner. They say it's thinner between here and there, or here in, the spirit world. I think that, you could probably get some great, what I call downloads. And I mean them in a very, some people actually say they get downloaded information and stuff. I don't have that. You do. See, you're lucky. Yeah, not you're open to it, and so your crown chakra must be completely balanced and allowing that to happen. But it is. It's a very thin veil. So if you're wanting to communicate with the other side, or if you wanted to maybe ask some questions, or you want to use pendulum, or just get up and write down your ideas. If I don't I've just found myself so angry in the morning if I don't. And I know you've also done dream analysis, and I have too. I've had dream groups. A lot of it's a symbology, and we kind of tear that stuff apart. But it's different for everybody, because everybody has a different. I lost the word. Meaning for different things. Like there's some people love dogs or love cats. Other people don't love dogs and cats. So if they have a dog in there and they don't like dogs, then that's a bad dream, for them. But anyway, there's a whole other topic.
It's a big topic, but I just wanted to touch on.
It's okay.
That's sort of 3 to 4 a.m. wherever you live. That sort of that time frame, you'll notice you may wake up, and it might be repeatedly every night, or what,
Yes.
Once a week or a month, whatever. But you'll always sort of notice it's at that time, and it's like, why? And I used to go online, and everybody else, like on Facebook, was like, anyone else awake right now?
Yeah. It tends to spread itself out. It does. Since I reinvigorated my spirituality, which is, I guess, is the word. I wake up almost every night now. I'm able to go back to sleep, but when I wasn't, it wasn't like that. I think that my own flow had to be recreate. But what other thing I want to say is you're going to have times when things won't flow. It's just not going to work, no matter what you do. And it isn't even the obstacle. The obstacle could be you. So we can't, while it would be nice to stay in flow, it would also be nice to stay in enlightenment. It would be nice to stay in everything, energy or whatever. We're just going to have times when it's not going to work. And we don't need to, don't get discouraged about that, because I don't think it just goes away and never comes back again. But you have to reinvigorate it. Yeah. So, it can be done. If 3 o'clock in the morning is the only time, if you live with other people and they're busy, and that's the only time it's quiet in your house, then that's a perfect time for you to be up doing some small thing for a while. But the problem is that I tend to wake people up that are in the house, and they'll come out and go, "What are you doing?" Not that I'm doing anything wrong, but why are you up,
So maybe the veil is a great time for people who are trying to get back into their spirituality or trying to connect with flow.
Right.
If you have the next day off and you're able to wake up at 3 a.m. and it doesn't affect your next day, let's say it's on the weekend or something, maybe get up at 3 a.m. and try to meditate.
Yes. Or before you go to bed, ask for that intention. I'd like to wake up and be closer to the veil, or I'd like you to send me a signal or a dream or something that will help me know which way I need to go.
Yeah, that's great.
That's helpful. Yeah. But, what is it that really brings you joy? That's what you need to find. And sometimes it's not the thing that's going to make all the money in the world. It's not the thing but it's the thing that you must do. I had a friend who was a writer and never got published, and she was so distressed over and over again. And I kept telling her, you got to let it flow. Did you enjoy writing? Did you enjoy doing that? Do you have to have people read it? Everybody's got a different agenda. So, and not everybody's got a spiritual agenda. They've got material agenda. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just different. And you get different results, I think. But, I feel that the other thing I want you to know is that if you're feeling like you're not perfect, which we aren't, none of us are, that creativity, people being creative and being born with it and having it is a myth. We're all creative. We're all psychic. We can all be spiritual. We just have to say that's what we want. Yeah. I don't really think that, it has to come from, secret source, like I tell even my own students, I'll say, I want to do a creative project with you and I want you to do that. And now I'm not creative. And it's like writer's block, And I said, yes, you are. Yes, you are creative. You really, really. And then afterwards, 9 times out of 10, they tell me this was the most fun I've ever had doing it.
Because it releases and it fills your soul, right? It's connecting with your soul. And creativity can be, as you say, making a cupcake, or it can be painting a picture.
Absolutely.
Or making a little charm bracelet, or,
journaling,
gardening.
I'm a big journaler, so it could be that. Yes, absolutely.
Like making a flower bed, because that's, you're envisioning how it's going to look, right? So that's creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got different areas that we're better than the other, but what's wrong, what's wrong with trying something new like Grandma Moses did when she started painting at 90 or something, she was, and there are people out there doing things like that at the very, very advanced age, and they're just fabulous, really. Yeah. I don't know have you seen that guy? He's I think he's 75 or 80 years old. He's Japanese. He's got beautiful gray, long hair, and he walks on the catwalk. He does modeling, and he's in his 70s. He's fabulous. He is.
Oh, beautiful.
I know. There's just so much beauty to creativity in different ways. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So don't torture yourself. We're all
relaxing as we're talking about this, right? Like just let go, everybody, of stress. I know it's hard to say that, and you know what I mean, but go with the flow. Otherwise you're swimming upstream and you're exhausted.
Yeah. Well, not only that, you don't have to know today.
That's right.
I was I think I was 45 when I began teaching. 20 years ago, I began teaching at the college level. And before that, I was a mortgage loan officer. So it's different. It's not spirituality, but I just changed jobs. I didn't like what I was doing. I wanted to teach. And I have never regretted it for 1 minute, not at all. And I've also lived all over the place, traveled. I loved it. I love all that. So I was fortunate to have parents who love to travel, and I kind of put that on my own kids as well. And now they love to travel. So, that can be creative, learning about other places and cultures. Yes. And all right. So let's see, was there anything else we needed to cover here? Oh, I want to just bring this up because I think it's important. One of the things that I've learned about in Buddhism is Zen, and how Zen works, and how enlightenment, comes and goes. And, we don't want it to go away. We liked where we were. But before Zen, or before your spiritual life, you had to do the laundry. And afterwards, once you attained it, you still have to do the laundry. So I love that. Before enlightenment, the laundry; after enlightenment, the laundry, that kind of thing. So, don't quit your day job right away. But, this could morph into something much, much bigger. And, you got to let that unfold and have its own flow, because I really do believe that if we find the right group of people who support us and also help us, and we help them, as you are doing here by introducing me in this group, and also, offer their wisdom to us, that we really succeed and do well, and keep learning.
I agree. And why aren't we all sharing and caring for each other, right?
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. We have to be, not do, as well. We have to spend more time in being. And that's what COVID has tried to tell us.
Yes.
Actually. It's tried to tell everyone, don't go out, don't do, be. A lot of people don't want to hear it because they're doers. And
yeah. Well, we were in that, what is it? That little,
transition.
What's the wheel that the little mice wheel, right? The mouse wheel.
Oh, yes. The rat race. The
rat race.
Squeaky wheel.
You get up and you get into rush hour and you're full of coffee and you didn't eat breakfast and you have to drop the kids off or whatever. And you get into work and it's and then you go back into rush hour and take the kids everywhere, whatever your life is, right?
Yes.
And COVID put a full stop on the rat race.
Actually, there's a myth that Camus wrote, the myth of Sisyphus, which is actually I believe is a myth from the Greeks. I'm not sure, but Sisyphus was conditioned to roll a rock up the hill every night. That was his penance for what he did wrong. He had to roll this rock up the hill every night, only to know that the rock would come back down. And the next day he'd have to roll the rock up the hill. And this was his life. And that's what we had been living, our rat race.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm sure happy not to be commuting right now. I really love it that I don't have to waste my time on the road.
I am so grateful, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people are spending more time now at home with family.
Yeah. Or people are reading again. Yeah. The only thing I miss is I did have some travel things I liked doing every year with my friends and things.
But that will come again. But
that is the hope I hold. Yes. Yeah.
And people,
you can take this time and learn, and it's a lot of people have, and a lot of people won't. But everybody's got their own path. So I'm not condemning anybody at all.
No. Yeah. But it's been a real, if you're open to it's been a real time to reflect and find out what really matters to you and what you want your life to be. Because I was doing like an hour and 45 commute to the job that I lost to work at a place that
yeah. You wouldn't have left though because you had a job.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So,
yeah. The universe has plans for us that we have to step out of the way and allow to happen.
Yes.
And when we are blocking, oh no, I don't want to do that, or I can't do that, or I don't, then we're not going to go anywhere and we're going to be miserable. I'm seeing that in America. There's a group of people that want change, growth, a lot of things to be different. And there's a lot of the other half of the people want things to go back to the way they were, stay stagnant, and be secure, which they, as we talked about, they really weren't secure. But this schism it's probably everywhere. I just don't live everywhere, so I don't see it. But in America, it's like that, and it's sad. To me, it's very sad. I don't think it's going to change. You know, when you become so diametrically opposed like that, it's very difficult. So you have to find your community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this online community, I think, is a great place for us. Anyone can reach out who has the internet to find you. Because it may not be where you live. You might live in a place where there's a lot of rat racers.
Yes. That's very true. That's very true. So to be in the spiritual flow, center yourself in your own consciousness. Allow your life to unfold around that identity of yourself as a non-physical with a physical body experiencing the world.
Yes.
Be open to change. Be open to things that, you know, you may, you know, something may happen and you're stuck somewhere. Make the best of it. You know, find something there that you can. And that's so hard. We allow our anger and our emotions to get involved in, but it doesn't solve anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, like you can try to be like the Buddha statue at the side of a riverbed and watch these things float by you. Okay, you don't have to get lovely.
My little Buddha.
Yeah, like if there's let's say you lose your job, you can watch that situation just flow by you down the river, because you know what, another job's going to come along, and look at it as an opportunity, like I did, and I know a couple of other people said in the chat that, you know, you've lost your job and you found new things, a new direction.
You found yourself.
You found yourself.
Lost your job, found yourself.
Yes. So
you know, it's self-care is becoming more and more out there now. People are talking about it, at least, but we tend not to care not to care about ourselves as much as others or this or that or the job or whatever. Yeah. But everybody's got to find their own self, because everybody's different. So,
and the lesson is, yes, the journey is yours alone and yours is unique to everyone else's. So don't control the journey, enjoy it. Don't control someone else's journey, and get out of your way.
That's right.
Just try. Put your little toe in the pond and try. See how it feels, because it's going to feel good, right?
Yeah. And although you can't step into the same river twice, because it's never the same river, you know, because it flows.
It flows. And you know, you try something and it doesn't work, you learn from it and you try something else. It's okay.
That's right. We beat ourselves up more than we beat up others, honestly. Yeah.
So you wanted to also talk about another subject.
Okay.
Riffing.
Yeah, I do. So on my channel, my husband and I've come up with this idea that this is actually kind of like riffing, what we're doing right here. It's just sort of, you know, some other thing comes up and you talk about it and then you riff into something else. If you were a guitarist, or you were trying to improv songs and things, you would, you know, and they call that riffing, just, you know, making something up. Not that it's lies, or fantasy or whatever, but it's
just trying. Yeah,
moving from one idea to another. So Keith and I are going to have some, hopefully real soon, some riffing sessions on our channel. And I would love to have riffing sessions again with Andrea or anyone else that wants to have one. If you find that that's something you're interested in, we can pick a topic and then know that, like this one, it can flow into others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I love it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions about flow in the chat, or any other questions?
I should write his name down.
Miss Brazil says, good afternoon, Andrea. Love your shows. I'm in the process of learning. Exactly. I want to put these shows out, this different kind of content. You know, I love tarot and all that stuff. but this is all part of it because it's all spiritual, right? It's all moving us forward into the next.
Yep. And I really enjoy passing along things that my spiritual teachers have taught me over the times that I've learned. I learned from an Indian shaman. I've learned from a crystal healer. I've learned from all kinds of different people over a long period of time. Yeah. I don't remember everything, and I'm not the expert, but I sure find it fascinating, and it, would love to talk about some of those things as well.
Jennifer Gross said, I used to make jewelry, and I would find myself in a flow to the point I would forget to eat. Exactly. Right? Because you're just in it.
The way to lose weight.
Because you're just so in it and you love it and you're connected, right?
Yeah, you absolutely are. Yep, absolutely. But the bad thing, I guess the opposite side of that is there was a couple in Korea, I believe it was, that were playing video games, and they were so in the flow, they ignored their crying baby, and the baby ended up dying of hunger and stuff. But
that's not a good story.
Me, I don't know. They needed a 2x4 across their head, as far as I know.
No,
that's a little bit too much, but yeah, it is a nice feeling when you are working and those things. That's an enjoyable thing to be working on, and then you don't really care about the time. That's the other aspect. Yeah.
You just you're in it. You're right in the flow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice feeling.
It really is.
Yep.
Grandma Rose's Homestead. I'm just learning tarot, and I've helped you so much. Awesome. There's no rules.
Right? No, there wasn't.
There's no rules.
That's the nice feeling.
And there's no rules. If you want to paint something you never have before, just paint it. It can be abstract. It doesn't have to be perfect.
I started doing some hand sewing. I did. And it's I just sit and do something else as I'm hand sewing. And it's fun, I
think a lot of the fear is the judgment, what other people are going to think.
Oh, this looks terrible. No one would like this. Yeah.
Well, what about what you like?
I know.
Do you like sewing? Do you like painting? What about what makes you happy and not worrying about,
expect miracles. Expect the wondrous to emerge.
Oh,
look at that. That's Aladdin and his lantern. Remember when the 3 genies, it's 3 wishes from the genie. Well, you're your own genie.
That's a beautiful card. What a lovely card for today. Miracle.
I know. Yeah.
Well, let's hope that this conversation is going to launch a bunch of miracles for people.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah. Sending love and healing miracles. Yes.
Finding your flow, getting out of your way, and just trusting the universe. And if you want to chat more about this, you can reach Aley. Do you want to give your
our channel is Heart and Soul Connected, and I'm Aley, and my husband's name is Keith. And we'll be putting up our own stuff, but I really appreciate Andrea for having both of us on her channel. We've had so much fun. She's fabulous. We told her, and we mean it. She did a reading for us, and it was fabulous. And it actually launched all of this. It helped push us toward it, which was wonderful, which is what we needed, just a little boot in the butt. But the things that come out of those things are miraculous. And so, I recommend personal readings. We connected very deeply right away. We felt very simpatico. So that's always a nice feeling. It really is.
It really is. Yeah. So I put the link to Aley and Keith's channel below in the description box. Well, here's an interesting question. Marie Henson, she has ADHD. Mania, has that stopped flow? So does sometimes either learning disability or a mental, whatever cognitive situation, how does that affect flow? That's a great question.
I'm only going to go with my intuitive idea about what I think. It doesn't mean it's something he would have said or that it's the right answer. But my first feeling would be it is a cognitive disability, and it does restrict people from many things, actually, because they can't concentrate long enough to do what they need to do. So maybe the first thing that you might want to do is to concentrate on concentrating. That sounds silly, but maybe finding yourself in a space that is put some music on, some nice soft music on, put a candle on, some incense, that kind of thing. Don't look for miracles immediately. Just start yourself in making a ritual that you would like to just spend time in this very short period of time. Maybe start out with a minute or two, and then maybe build up from there, depending upon how your ADHD, allows that. I'm not sure if you're on medication for it and if that helps you, or you don't want medication for it. And I don't know anything about that because I'm not a doctor. But I do know that if you can certainly do intentions, make intentions. And I know Esther Hicks and Abraham stuff, they have a lot of intentions. They have a lot of ways you can word things, and, asking the God source, or asking the universe for more concentration on something, or the ability to be led to a place where you can find something that works for you within the limited amount of time you can concentrate on it.
Yeah. Following up with that, Christina just said, if you have a disability, does that stop the flow? So I just want to make a statement here that I think anyone with a disability, or mental or other, cognitive or physical or whatever, you can still, everyone has their own flow. Everyone.
And it changes at different times.
That's right. So whether you have a disability or not, doesn't mean you can't have flow, doesn't mean you can't have spirituality. It's just different. My experience is different than Aley's, right? Mm-hmm. As individuals, we're all different. So, what works for one doesn't work for another. So Marie, maybe with your ADHD, have you done anything creative? Do you paint? Just, what is the creative outlet you're using during any stage of your situation? And that will help you connect, right?
Even if it was coloring in adult coloring books, writing in a journal, you could start with Sudoku if you like math. You could start with word choice. I know that's kind of very low level, but I started I love coloring. It puts me in a Zen state. And then I feel like I have other things that I can access. Yeah.
And in that zone where you're painting or doing jewelry or creating a garden, you'll find, don't you just feel so new? All that stress is gone because you're focused on something you love to do, and it's creative, and it's using that other part of the brain, and you let go of all that other crap.
You'll feel what they call a runner's high. The runners will say, "Oh, I got to run every day because they get this adrenaline going, and they're like really." And in a way, it feels the same way. But I also don't profess, and neither does Andrea, to know anything about disabilities and how to handle that, because I don't want to provide wrong information. But I really do think we all have a side of us that is spiritual. Some people, they like to read Bible passages, or they like to, work with a Bible study group, and that's creative. That can be creative for them, or spiritual.
Right. So everyone has their own thing that clicks for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
No, I think that's a lot of the problem. And I'm a Virgo, and I seek Virgos are terrible with seeking perfection, especially themselves.
They
so
do.
It was really hard for me to start the channel because it wasn't perfect. I didn't have the right lighting. I didn't have what I thought, high tech or what.
Yeah.
I just started, you see, with my hands on the table. That was it, with the cards.
Yeah.
You just start.
And you moved up.
And you just go with it, right? And
yeah.
I've just been moving with the flow of the whole thing.
Good.
And it's wonderful.
I'm a Libra, and a Libra can't decide this, that. My Virgo friend helped me. So thank you so much, Andrea. I've had a great time with everybody. Thank you.
Yes, thank you everyone who's joined us today, and thank you to those who are watching later. So this live show was 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I look forward to having Aley and her husband Keith on my channel again. And I look forward to being on your channel someday.
Yes, so you will be very soon, I'm hoping. Good. Thanks so much, dear. Thanks to everybody out there, and have a wonderful, blessed day.
Yes. Bye for now.
All right. Bye-bye.